Minister of Finance and Economic Growth. Nicola and I actually this morning spent some time at Datacom, which was a company talking a lot about artificial intelligence and the potential of what that can mean for the New Zealand economy and also for economic productivity and for growth. And of course to be here now with Erica as well at the school, where we're putting a big focus this year on improving literacy and also numeracy with our young students under Year 8. This is really an important part of actually, if we want to be leaders in AI, well, we've actually got to be able to teach our kids the basics, teach them to read, teach them to do maths well, so they're set up for a future that they can do whatever they wish in the world. With that, we've got a big year in education. I want to congratulate Erica for all the work that she did over the last year, making sure that we get our kids to school, but importantly that we're setting them up for success with a really good structured literacy curriculum and also our maths action plan as well. And with that, Erica, maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the resources and things that we've been able to fund and get together.
Thank you. Look, it's really exciting to be here today. Today is the first day that I have seen the maths books that we've sent out in the classroom.
Yeah.
So there are 430,000+ children who will be turning up to school this week and next week and receiving one of these similar maths books. And it's great to see the hard work that we put in last year in classrooms. And my message to parents is really clear. You're going to know what your kids are doing in class, and you've got to know how they're doing. And I'd encourage all those parents out there this week and next week and over the coming terms to go into your child's classroom and pick up their workbooks and see how they're going, and get involved. And I'm just so proud of all of the action that we've managed to put in place this year, not only in mathematics but also in structured literacy as well, with all of the tangible resources, the guidebooks for teachers, all of the professional learning and development coming to fruition literally today. The first day of school at Wadestown here. So really proud of all the hard work we've put in.
It's pretty exciting, isn't
Awesome.
it? Yeah. All right, well, listen, everybody, it is going to be a big year in education. It's one of the big things we need to do right if we're going to have a world-class education system so we can improve our economic productivity and growth. And Erica, again, I just want to commend you on the great work you've been doing as well. With that, happy to take any questions you got?
Will you reprimand Winston Peters and Shane Jones for making comments that are being labelled xenophobe?
Look, I didn't hear the remarks. They're not remarks that I would make myself, but I obviously have conversations with colleagues all the time. All I just say is, having seen remarks from members of parties across Parliament and even the last 48 hours, and my call, as I said last year, was every MP needs to watch their rhetoric.
Have you spoken to them about those remarks?
No, I saw that. I haven't had a chance, but obviously I talk to my colleagues all the time.
Do you plan to speak to them about
I
those
talk to them all the time.
How is that appropriate to make those remarks and for there to be no consequences for that?
Well, I'll just say to you that actually across the parties, there's been, I've seen MPs from lots of different parties making what I think are comments and remarks that are not helpful.
And those comments are for
they should be
leaders to address. I'm asking you to address the comments of your ministers.
Sure, everybody just needs to watch their rhetoric. And actually what we're here to do is to focus on New Zealanders, and what they want us focused on is them. And that means that we've got to make sure we focus on the economics, we focus on law and order, and delivering better education and health.
When the Prime Minister, the Mexican ambassador, says he's spoken with MFAT, does that give you any concern, the fact that he's raising that there could be an issue here?
Look, I'm unaware of that. I just say to you, I wasn't in the House, I didn't hear the remarks. What I'd say is it's not what I'd say. It's my advice to all members of all political parties, of all persuasions, is actually you have a responsibility to watch your rhetoric, and I talk to my colleagues all the time.
You didn't hear the remarks, but do you know what they were?
Yes, as reported. Yep.
Are you concerned that the remarks of your ministers may be affecting our international relations?
No.
It's your foreign minister.
I think you heard Winston say that his comments were not intended to be anti-immigrant, and that's not what he intended. And so fair enough for him. But I just say to you is that they're not words that I would use, and as political leaders, we've all got a responsibility to be responsible for what we say.
When you say watch your rhetoric, you're saying watch not to say that again because it has not been helpful for New Zealand.
Well, no, it's just about everybody. I've watched members of all political parties, even in the last 48 hours, say some things that I think actually need to. There's a moment between stimulus and response. I'm just calling everybody as a leader to say, hey, listen, take that moment, think about what you're going to say before you put your mouth into gear, and watch the rhetoric.
Winston Peters has just doubled down, tripled down. He's saying, the Greens are globalists and he's a nationalist. He's not resiling from those comments whatsoever. Will you be speaking to him about this?
Well, I'm sorry, the comments...
the comments that he made in the House trucks towards green MPs.
Yeah, well, as I said to you, I mean, the reality is, I'm just imploring all politicians of all parties to watch their language, and that's all. That's important. We've got to focus on what New Zealanders want us to do, and I'm telling you, this year, it's all about growth.
But aren't they distracted from that?
You made this a year of growth. You want to have a yes economy. Can I get you to cast your mind back to when you were running for Botany? You opposed a housing development in that suburb. That developer is going to court, wants to go ahead with that development. In the new yes economy, is that something you will now embrace, that development in Cockle Bay?
Well, what I'd say is that's a matter before the courts. I understand it's under appeal and it'd be inappropriate for me to comment on a specific case, but you can be reassured we are going for growth, and you've seen that with our fast-track legislation. You know, with the projects that we have on the table, we think we can generate 55,000 new houses across New Zealand as a result of that. We can increase our renewable electricity by almost 30%. We can build, hundreds of kilometres of new roads. That's all good stuff.
If I can take it back from the specific of the court case and just say that kind of development which you opposed when you were running in Botany, now that we have this focus on growth, this focus on saying yes, those kinds of developments, high density housing in Botany, would you support those?
I'd just say to you, conflating those two issues is I don't think the right way to look at it. We've got a massive agenda to unlock growth in this country. You've seen that with Fast Track. You've also seen us come back to councils and say we want councils to consent 30 years of growth. You've seen us say that there's optionality now by making the MDRS optional within a given city for a local government to work through. But we are going to build houses and we are going to grow New Zealand. There are lots of different cases that will have lots of different component parts to them. But as I said before the courts, I can't comment.
If I can push you one more time on that, you want more concerts at Eden Park. Some locals oppose that. You want seabed mining in Taranaki. Some locals oppose that. You took the initiative to say no to a development in your electorate, but you're now asking people to say yes to developments in their regions. Do you think you're not showing?
I can't be any clearer with you. I can't comment on an individual project when it's before the courts. It's inappropriate for me to do so. But I think you can look at what we are doing as a government and say this is a government that is unlocking and removing the impediments and the obstacles and the culture of no, because we have no choice. It's not up for negotiation anymore. We are here to grow the joint. That is what's needed. Why? Because that's actually how New Zealanders get ahead and how we get a better quality of living for everybody across New Zealand.
So you would support high density housing in Botany, high density
As you know, we've actually said to councils, we expect you to deliver 30 years worth of housing growth and be very upfront about that. You may use the high density or the MDRS legislation if you wish, or not, but you will deliver more housing across your areas.
This morning, Shane Jones said that he hoped Kiwibank reconsidered its position of not engaging with services involved with fossil fuel extraction. Is it appropriate for a minister to be making that sort of comment about a government-owned bank?
Yes, it's very concerning when we have banks actually across not just Kiwibank, but actually across the banking sector are making those decisions, and I'd let Nicola say a few more words about it.
I think this is an issue that the Parliamentary Select Committee should call the bank chief executives back in about, because while individual banks will make decisions about who they bank based on their financial creditworthiness and other factors, it would be very concerning for New Zealand if banks as a whole gang together to stop giving finance to things that New Zealanders need. We still need petrol stations. Yeah. So if banks collectively chose not to bank them, that would be a problem for every New Zealander. So I think this is an issue we need to explore more. We need to understand the individual positions of banks, why they're taking those positions, and what implications that has.
Is it appropriate, though, for a government minister to make that sort of comment about Kiwibank?
Oh, look, I think he was expressing his opinion.
Prime Minister, Health New Zealand has bought $500,000 worth of vapes from a Chinese company whose executives were caught discussing making discreet bribes and payments and using grey channels in countries like New Zealand to get access for their products. What do you make of that?
Again, I'm unaware of that story and that reporting. To say to you, direct your question to the Ministry of Health or the Health Minister.
Will you be looking into that? Can you give us a guarantee, Prime Minister, that you have a look into it?
Again, I just say to you, I'm not aware of the story. I'd just say to you, go talk to the Health Minister and the Ministry of Health.
Will the National Party be endorsing any candidates in the Auckland local elections?
Again, those are decisions we haven't made or comments or conversations
Would
that we've had.
Would you like to endorse Desley Simpson?
Again, we haven't made any decisions around any of that.
How frustrating, or is it frustrating for you to have issues like the comments Shane Jones and Winston Peters have made when you're trying to focus your government on economic growth and that sort of sucking a bit of the oxygen away? Is that frustrating for you?
I'll just say to you, I think we've had a fantastic start to the year. I think New Zealanders are understanding exactly what we're about. You saw that in last week, where we talked about a State of Nation address, where we said job number one is growth, growth, growth. I think New Zealanders have heard that very clearly and said, hallelujah, thank you very much. That's exactly what we want you to be doing. You've heard it this week when we talked about speed limits yesterday, and actually the culture of no and the culture of slow from the previous administration, with all the hand-wringing and all the we know best and the centralisation, actually saying listen to the communities, change the rules and do something about it, because that makes a big difference to economic growth as well. And so we're very focused. We are very focused about what we're doing.
Is there any sense that your coalition partners are sort of stealing your thunder, sort of with the treaty principles there as well? There's a lot of focus and oxygen on that.
I'd just say to you, this is a government that's incredibly focused, come out of the blocks very, very strongly after the summer break. And I can tell you across all three parties in the coalition government, we know exactly what we're doing and we know what we've got to do, and the job that we've got to do is deliver for New Zealanders this year, economic growth, and make sure we deliver for them.
Last couple of questions, guys.
Shane Jones,
Sorry.
On the economy, the US overtaking Australia as the second largest destination for exports. Any takes on that in terms of how that might impact the economic strategy?
No, I mean, we've had very strong growth into the US market over the last 2 years in particular. Last year was a really good year for goods and services into the US, and that's despite the fact that we don't even have a free trade agreement with the US. It's a large market, 360 million consumers. New Zealand businesses can find niches of consumers to sell their great products to, and we're seeing that. I mean, Nicola and I this morning spent time with Datacom, who've got building a fantastic business in Australia, for example, and doing an exceptionally good job selling high value, high paying jobs, exporting company of services out into a market like Australia and competing incredibly strongly. So, I'm very, very optimistic about, we want to double the value of our exports in the next 10 years. Yes, we also want to attract foreign direct investment into New Zealand as well so that we can grow even faster. And I think we're in good shape.
Well, Kainga Ora is going back on its Kainga Ora is going back on its decision not allowing wall carpet suppliers to bid. What do you make of that? I mean, what impact is that going to have? Do you reckon that was a mistake that they ever ruled out using wall carpet?
Look, it's an operational decision for KO, but I think they made the right decision.
I mean, it's a government agency, though.
And I think they made the right decision.
Do you believe Oranga Tamariki has acted appropriately with the work that it's been doing around service providers? You've just had, the Children's Minister have to step in and tell them to pause the work it's been doing and reverse that decision it made with Bernardo's.
I met with the Minister last night. Her and I discussed what was happening with the OT procurement exercise. We both came to the agreement that actually she's made the right decisions this morning, which is to reinstate Bernardo's, also to make sure that we extend and just roll over the contracts that are still haven't been resolved. And importantly, it's part of a bigger piece of challenge that we have across government, which is the commissioning and procurement of social services across a number of government agencies. Our contracting and our engagement is very complex. I mean, we have it over a number of agencies over a number of years on a number of different projects and of variable terms, and all of that creates a lot of complexity. So we need a piece of work, and that's what this will plug into ultimately.
Last one, guys. You had to step in. Was the Minister not able to do this work?
No, we met up last night, and we had a good conversation. We both came to the same conclusion that this was the right set of actions to take this morning. And I'm pleased that she did it.
Did you direct her to make that decision?
It's the right decision that she's made this morning.
Did you direct her to make that decision?
Again, we met up last night. We had a good conversation. We both came to the same position, which was actually that we are unsatisfied with the performance of KO and management of the process, and as a result, we made the decisions, and she made the decisions and announced those this morning.
Thanks, guys. Got to leave it there.
Thanks so much, Steve. Appreciate it.
US trade deal this year?